I wanted to discuss something that you had made a video on before.
Oh, yeah.
And that you'd spoken about on Tim Pool, and that is the narrative magic that the Trump campaign had this time around. And obviously, I mean, we're not on YouTube now, in case this is YouTube clips. The fortification that happened in 2020 is more blatant for most people, if they don't read Time magazine. But if they didn't do that, if they didn't try and persecute him, all the cases now dropped, if they didn't try and shoot him, if they didn't constantly go after his family and call him a Nazi in the media, we wouldn't have had the all-star coalition he has now. We wouldn't have had cinematic moments. We wouldn't have had Vance as the VP, and we wouldn't have had that satisfying narrative arc. So this is the only time I'm going to tell you this. You were right.
What it did is not only took Trump out of the limelight and gave him a just cause to be grieved about, which totally useful from an Alinsky point of view, but it also put them straight in everyone's faces. Yeah, no, we're going to ruin everything. We're going to immiserate your country. We're going to make sure that every illegal alien under the sun gets your tax money, and we're going to be wrong publicly about everything and shove it in your face. So when Trump's coming back at the turn of the tide, oh, thank God, Trump the Orange has returned. He's going to save us from the Uruk-hai who are besieging us. You know, thank God.
This is one of the few astute things that Millet has said, actually, that he's saying, well, good that they've persecuted us because it makes us stronger, and therefore we're so much better than them now. We can rub their noses.
Yeah, no, it's kind of true.
It is true,
It gave Trump the breathing space to show that he was right about all of these things, and he became a sympathetic figure to all of those people who in 2016 and presumably and in 2020 didn't support him, like, you know, RFK, Tulsi, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. None of them publicly avowed him, but 4 years of the Democrats ruining the country and Trump being like, look, I'm the only alternative here. Like, what are we going to do? All got on board. The fellowship comes together and they win the day. It's superb.
Did you see that New York Times article that came out? I think it was a Wired one as well, saying like, oh, the right-wing misinformation podcasts and the manosphere that won this election. And there was a quote in there that said, the reason the Democrats didn't win this election is because we didn't have our own Ben Shapiro or Joe Rogan or Tim Pool. And it's like, but you had Joe Rogan and Tim Pool.
Yeah, Tim retweeted that going, you had a liberal Tim Pool. His name was Tim Pool.
Yeah.
You know? And then same with Joe Rogan.
Also, are they discounting the entire mainstream media?
Yes.
Like the 93% negative coverage.
It's not that they're discounting it. It's that they realise that that's a disproportionately decreasing share of the actual consumption of media. And like Joe Rogan gets, like, you know, 10 million views of an episode or whatever, and they're like, oh God, why didn't we have that guy? So you did have that guy. Then you called him a racist and a sexist and a Nazi and a homophobe.
And turned him yellow. Or grey.
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, when he was like, Joe Rogan's sick because he's taken ivermectin or whatever. You did everything you could to cast them out, and it's like, okay, well, now they've come back with a vengeance,
and without good reason.
Yeah, without good reason, completely.
It's like, and also your only other alternative media figures were Destiny, who is known for being, thank you for Stelios for broadcasting this, the internet's most notorious cuckold.
He has some participatory ideals.
He wants to redistribute the means of reproduction, clearly.
That's a good point. Is there a more famous cuckold in public life at the moment?
He's a proud one.
Hillary Clinton.
No, she's not a cuckold. Well, maybe in a way, but Destiny, like an actual cuckold, is like just the most famous one in the world. I mean, like there's a subreddit called r/cuckold. I bet he's super popular on that. I might go and look after this, actually.
The crossover with r/Kamala as well.
Yeah.
And then the other big one was Hassan Piker. It's like, oh great, our Joe Rogan is a frothing anti-white race communist who interviews porn stars and literal terrorists. I wonder why young men weren't voting for us.
They're all on Twitch, right? This is that was the main platform. Yeah.
Didn't Destiny get banned from Twitch? Oh no, is it banned from something else?
I think he probably has been banned from Twitch.
Is he fully banned from Twitch? Yeah, because he celebrated the death of Corey Comparator as well, which... Do you not see that after the Trump assassination?
Celebrated 9/11. I mean, you know.
So did Mary Beard. I mean, regime stooges. But the reason I bring that up is because I just wanted to open off with this sort of jubilant moment, because this was genuinely... I'm going to play it in the background. and he's been lined up as heir apparent. I quite liked his NatCon speech as well. So
It was great. It was the best one.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy?
Josh Hawley.
That's it. Hawley was about 75%, but Vance was like 95%.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
I mean, he does take his cues from James Orr, and so I think we can trust him. That's very good. Yeah. And then everyone else is celebrating as well. I mean, shortly after you jumped off the stream, Tim casted a giant sing along to the actual. It's one of my favourite moments of the night. Actually, I'll play a tiny bit of it just because you don't often see people as jubilant in our sphere.
Baron's right behind him.
Yeah, Baron's a superstar.
It's just good to see our friends having some fun. Who wasn't having fun? Quite a few people. We'll get onto that in a moment. There's Trump's currently celebrating with his family at the table.
I love that Trump's basically just chilling out at this point.
He doesn't need to wear the hat anymore. He's won.
I mean, he knows he won't chill out for 4 years, so
yeah,
he tries to make the most.
He's the only person that didn't age, though. You look at people before and after the presidency. It looked like Trump got healthier.
Look how relaxed Trump is, though. He's just glad that everyone around him is happy. Basically, everyone else is totally jubilant, and Trump's just sat there with a kind of satisfied look on his face.
He always does that little point thing of the
yeah.
Even when he doesn't think the cameras are on him.
Yeah.
Whereas Barack Obama looks like he's had his soul stolen by dementia.
Yeah, I know.
It's dreadful.
I mean, you could say that a fourth Obama administration was prevented.
Yeah. Quite, yeah. This was also quite interesting to me as well. So if people want to work out the reason why Trump won over young men and women, it's this sort of stuff. And yeah, it's cringe. But I think YMCA probably single-handedly won Trump a lot of the youth vote.
It's not very Nazi.
It makes him. It took him from being the convicted felon losing president to your fun, slightly racist granddad who says nice things at the dinner table. It's impossible to characterize him as you would say, Ralph, what would Hitler do figure. So it's always quite nice.
Yeah, Hitler probably wouldn't be dancing to YMCA.
No, he was. As far as I know, he wasn't big on dancing. Period. So
yeah.
Only goose stepping.
That's the thing. Fascism marches, right? And
MAGA dances.
MAGA dances, and that's all you need to know.
One last highlight of his unexpected support that Louise Perry found. He won 13% of the non-binary vote.
What?
30% of the trans are like, have you seen these guys?
Literally.
I mean,
Caitlyn Jenner leading his people out of Egypt.
I mean,
That's
probably
Blair White for you there, right there. It's winning it. That's great.
This doesn't add up. It's 101% of the votes.
There's a 1% margin of error, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
maybe
dealing in
some of
ones
them,
and zeros, aren't they?
some of them may had some moments of epiphany and said that Kamala started the peace inquiries for Palestine, and that rooftop doesn't seem so nice.
Hang on, if you identify as they them, you can vote multiple times. So therefore, over the vote total. Let's look at the people that didn't quite enjoy it. I mean, Kamala Harris has obviously conceded now, and she gave a concession speech, which was lacking in joy. It got stolen. The speech, the momentum kind of got stolen by a squirrel that just decided to run across the stage.
It's revenge.
Can we talk about portents?
It's on the kill list now.
So I'm finding myself believing in portents. So shortly before the election, an elephant named Kamala was euthanized, which was great. And then the baby hippo
She's
Mudeng,
a successful woman, Carl. You can't call her that.
Then the baby hippo Mudeng ate the Trump cake and not the Kamala cake, auspicing that Trump would win. And then upon the victory, Peanut the squirrel, his ghostly form, goes across. I mean, I'm just saying. Look, I think there might be signs that we can read.
Shinzo Abe has ordained.
The flight of
It can't be, because I also read that the most famous coven of witches was trying to curse Trump, but according to the information that they said, there is some miraculous force protecting him.
Exactly.
So
I'm just saying, maybe we should
Shinzo Abe, isn't it?
Shinzo Abe, yeah.
I was telling Trump earlier that the Japanese have discovered the Shinzo Abe memes. I saw this on Twitter this morning. I should have got it up, but they've just been posting in Japanese on X. Oh my god, we didn't realize that Americans loved our former president this entire time, for prime minister rather. So it's just nice and wholesome. What wasn't wholesome was Kamala's crowd.
Who's the guy in the middle again?
That's her husband.
Oh right, yeah.
The alleged woman beater.
He looks startlingly like Tim Waltz, actually. They look like they could be brothers. Just Tim Waltz being the older one.
Tim Waltz is younger than Tom Cruise. That always fascinates.
What?
That always fascinates.
Hang on. Yeah, but Tom Cruise has obviously put a lot of like South Korean baby.
I'm just saying.
Foreskins on his face or something.
I'm just saying.
You know, like Tom Cruise looks really good for his
He's
age.
communing with the aliens, isn't he?
Yeah,
In
whatever.
The Church of
whatever
Scientology.
disgusting satanic thing.
Tim Waltz looks like a shaved meerkat.
Don't insult
Looks
meerkats.
like a fairly normal, like old dude.
He doesn't look normal.
He looks like a composite face of every senator in the US.
Yeah.
Let me just say, what Wikipedia says here is that Tom Cruise is 3 months younger than Tim Waltz, but still, that's crazy.
Close, yeah.
They're just
Yeah, I said younger. I was factually. I didn't think of a decade, but you're right.
no, it's just honestly, yeah, very good observation. I wouldn't expect it.
I mean, Tim Waltz does look like John McCain's corpse.
Yeah, but I mean, when you get
Inflated
how old is Waltz?
Both are 62.
Yeah, right. Look, when I'm 62, I'm not going to be doing exercise. I'm not going down the gym like Tom Cruise obviously does.
I think it's
I'm gonna be getting
because
fat and relaxing, fatter even.
it's because during the BLM, his wife opened up the windows.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a tire smells. Exactly.
that's
It's a burnt
more-
tire
Like an Iraqi burn pit. Yeah. Look, all I'm saying is I know RFK is on, testosterone replacement and whatever, but there's no excuse if RFK looks like RFK and Tim Waltz looks like...
Look, when you're old and married, man, you don't care. It's just the time's done.
You even lift, bro.
No, I wouldn't lift at 62. I'd be enjoying myself and relaxing.
Well, speaking of fat,
Wearing the same colour
miserable
tie as
beta
Waltz,
males,
that's a problem.
What do you want, Connor?
have you seen this clip?
I have not.
We just have to indulge. Jimmy Kimmel
Oh, I don't wanna
genuinely
see this
cries. Cries on his own show.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go,
Hundreds of thousands.
for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security,
great. One
for
second.
our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth
He's
and
joking, right?
democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess
Not for
what? It was a bad
squirrels.
night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Raccoons.
And that's so good, right? Because I'm against all of those groups. But I love it. For the hundreds of thousands of immigrants who work hard, right, okay, you've got 20 million and only hundreds of thousands of them work hard. That's a really weird carve out of that demographic there.
For layabouts, for welfare dependents,
Yeah.
for murderers.
That's just such a weird thing.
If you would like to see the full version of this premium video, please head over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to gain full access to all of our premium content.